Whether you're a consumer, an analyst, or even an advanced developer, Dundas BI can be adapted to your needs to allow for an appropriate experience. As an administrator, you have ultimate control over your BI process so that you can easily customize to the unique needs of your team and your organization. I don't want to sound a bit cliche, but it's kind of up to your imagination the type of experience that you're going to give to your users. In Dundas BI, we're divided into power users, standard users, developers, and there's also administrators. So let's look at these user types and what's the difference. Oh, and I'm Jeff, and this is Off the Charts with Jeff. So like I mentioned, there's three main types of users in Dundas BI, and this diagram should give you a pretty high-level look at how they compare. Now you're probably thinking, Jeff, you liar. You just mentioned there were 4 user types 10 seconds ago, and now you're telling me there's only 3? Where's the administrator? Well, it's true. There's only 3 user types, but I thought the administrator is worth mentioning since it's kind of a special case, so I'll get to it later. So let's take a quick peek at this diagram. You notice that we're divided up into 4 major sections of the Dundas BI application. You've got your data connections, you've got your data cubes, which if you're not familiar with these are basically data models for performance and cleanup reasons. You've got metric sets, which are views of metrics as the name describes, right? Business metrics. And you've got dashboards. Dashboards are made up of metrics. So what we're doing is we're showing, based on that flow of capability, what each user can do. The standard user, as you can see, basically lives on the dashboard or the viewing side of things. This is a consuming license. So the purpose behind this is they're a viewer. They come in and they see content that someone else has already created for them. Now, the experience that a standard user is given depends on what the developer and the power user decide to provide. If you have a dashboard that's very flat and static, that may have been the design choice that was given to the standard user. Well, you can also have dashboards that are highly interactive, customizable, filtering capabilities, exporting. So it's decided what's being given to that standard user. But all in all, they're a viewer user type with some creation capability. Now, jumping all the way to the other side, we've got the developer. So the developer is able to come in and create data connections, build data models, if they want, build full dashboards, or perhaps the developer is going to come in and hand off some of these other tasks to another user. It's very common for a developer to come in, set up all the data and all the connectivity, and then pass it over to the power user. Think of the power user as kind of a developer light. They have all the content creation capabilities, but they're kept out of the more technical parts of the application. So you'll notice that they're not able to write scripts on the dashboard. They're not able to go and build data models. So they still have full creation capability, just a little bit less, and we keep them out of some of the areas that require more training. So what a lot of people will do, especially in self-service, is they'll come in, they'll set up all the data models and everything, and maybe even hand it off to a power user who finishes the job. So it's up to you. The power user is often seen as an optional license because, as you can see, the developer does everything a power user does, but sometimes you have cases where you might not need to give a full-blown or even want to give all the functionality to someone to do everything. Another neat thing about a power user is that they can kind of act like a viewer on steroids. So the power user goes in, they're able to view content, they may see a dashboard, and they might decide, you know what, for my needs, I need something a little bit different. So a power user can hit this button here that says Edit Copy for Analysis. By doing this, they're brought into their own project. So as the name suggests, it is copying that public dashboard. We're not editing it because you might not want to change a dashboard that was there for everybody else, right? That's a problem. But we get a copy, and I can now change this copy for my own use. Typically, a standard user wouldn't do this. They just use what's given to them. But you can see very quickly, maybe this whole right side of the screen is not of interest to us. So we're going to change it. Maybe I need a bit more of a raw detail view of a certain metric. Or maybe I want to go and add some formulas or something on top of something I'm already seeing. So that's the idea. Great in terms of self-service. By the way, if you are interested in looking into self-service for your own needs, take a look at a video we did called self-service, and silver service. Now, if you're not familiar with these terms, it's a really good way to deal with some of the pitfalls that a lot of BI projects get into. So it will definitely help you make this a success. Now, where does the administrator come in? Well, one of the things that can happen is any of these users can be an administrator. If you have a developer and they're doing everything, they're building all the content, they're managing all the users, that's fine. You can make them an administrator and they can do everything they need to 100% of the application. But what happens a lot of times is you might have someone in IT and their responsibility is just managing users. They don't care about dashboard creation. They don't want to know about dashboard creation. So you don't need to give them a developer license. You can give them a standard user. So they can still come in like everybody else. They can see the content that's been created, but they can also perform administrative tasks. So think of administrator not as a user type, but it's actually something that you can give to any user should you feel they need that access. So just to summarize really quickly, you've got your standard user, your viewer, usually meant for consuming content. You've got your power user, who is a light form of a developer, maybe not as technical. And you've got the developer who can do everything, build plugins, build data models, write scripts, whatever customization you need. And anybody can be an administrator. Also, one thing to keep in mind, every one of these user types is a bit of a gray area because as an administrator, you might want to come in and remove capabilities. And why might you want to do that? Well, if you have a standard user and you don't ever want them to touch even the light amount of content creation that's possible, you can go in and turn it off. You could turn off export. You could turn off notifications, whatever. So it's actually a really good thing, especially if you have a new user base. Give them a little bit to start. Give them basic dashboards, keep it simple for them. That way there's not as much to learn and it's not as scary to get into a new application. As they start getting comfortable, you can give them more and more capability. It's just a nice way to ease people in to all the functionality that's available, rather than just making them jump in the deep end. So that's up to you. Now, if you are new to Dundas BI, take a look at the video that we did on 5 tips for getting started. This is a really good place to just get you a little bit more comfortable with the application, and we'll give you some great ideas in order to just make things easy for you. So that's it. I hope this has helped, and thanks for watching.